to Ghost Pirate Entertainment. I'm your host, Kanan Becker, and today we talk about 10 horror movies that look beautiful but feel like nightmares. And with that, let's get to the list! Mandy is a 2018 psychedelic action horror movie. Directed by Panos Cosmatos, it stars Nicolas Cage, Andrea Riseborough, and Linus Roche. In the Pacific Northwest in 1983, outsiders Red and Mandy lead a loving and peaceful existence, but their haven is savagely destroyed by a cult led by a sadistic man. I just adore this movie. It is amazing to look at, for one. And then the soundtrack comes in, and it is brilliant. Just, it's such a mood. It's one of those movies in general, not just horror, but movies in general that kind of take you and transport you to another place. But the aesthetics of this are just amazing. It feels almost like a painting at times, the different colors and the way it's designed in general. Beyond that, even the pacing and wardrobe and all of that just feels like it transports you. But when this movie goes for it, it absolutely dives in. It gets brutal, sadistic, bloody, super gory, and over the top. It gets heart-pounding and intense and really keeps you on the edge of your seat. But I just think this movie is brilliant, and it's one that I highly recommend.
Why don't you just kill the living? Are you listening to me?
Don't you believe me?
No.
Tough.
Cemetery Man is a 1994 black comedy horror movie. Directed by Michael Sovi, it stars Rupert Everett, Francois Hadji-Lazaro, and Anna Fulci. A cemetery caretaker must kill the dead a second time when they come back as zombies.
Death comes sweeping down. Filthy death, the leering clown. Death on wings, death by surprise. Veiling evil from worldly eyes.
This movie is so incredible, and it blows me away every time I talk about this that it has not become more of a cult favorite. It really should have a huge fan base. Because for one, this movie looks insane. It's just so gorgeous, but dripping in style. It has this elegance about it and a painterly almost style in the way that everything is so meticulously put together. But the way that it's shot and filmed, it just has so much depth. And the palette is just incredible. The colors are vibrant and nothing feels artificial. So it feels deep and rich, but still in a natural kind of way. But then you get into the special effects and different creature designs and stuff like that. And even that, the way it's done, has this beautiful quality to it. But it also gets gory and brutal and very horror. There's a ton of horror in this movie. It doesn't hold back from anything. It's also super over the top and weird and quirky with a lot of different things that really are kind of a one-of-kind about this. So if for whatever reason you're one of those out there that have never heard of this or have slept on it, do yourself a favor and check this one out.
You don't want to wake up, do you?
Under the Skin is a 2013 sci-fi horror movie. Directed by Jonathan Glazer, it stars Scarlett Johansson, Adam Pearson, and Paul Brannigan. Disguising itself as a human female, an extraterrestrial drives around Scotland, attempting to lure unsuspecting men into her van. Once there, she seduces them, then sends them to another dimension where they become nothing more than meat.
Come to me.
This movie is incredible. It's so weird and uncomfortable, creepy, bizarre. It really is a strange movie. And so it absolutely is not meant for everyone. It is a bit of a slow burn and really kind of takes its time getting where it's going. But the visuals in this are just stunning. Everything from the landscape, the different settings and things that they go to in this, the way the ocean is shot, and just in general, all of the different nature or B-roll that's done in this is just majestic. But beyond that, the set designs, the different weird alien type of things that happen in this are also gorgeous. But they're beautiful in this weird, uncomfortable way. There's a gritty quality to it because Scarlett Johansson, who is one of the most beautiful women in Hollywood, The way she is shot in this is very human. She is really stripped of any glamorous qualities whatsoever. And so is the rest of the cast. And so when they're naked, there isn't anything really alluring or seductive about it. Instead, it just feels bizarre and weird. But I just think this movie is one of those that just kind of feels like art more than it even does a movie. It's not exactly what I would call entertaining, but more of an experience. So if that sounds intriguing to you and you've never seen this, it should definitely be on your list. A Cure for Wellness is a 2016 sci-fi horror movie. Directed by Gore Verbinski, it stars Dane DeHaan, Mia Goth, and Jason Isaacs. A young executive is sent to retrieve his company's CEO from a mysterious wellness center at a remote location in the Swiss Alps. But soon he suspects that the spa's treatments are not what they seem.
24 hours to go. I wanna be sedated.
I have been such a big fan of this movie for many years now. It's one of those kind of movies that I've talked about quite a bit where it has a big budget. Everything about it seems like it should have been a big hit. At the very least, a cult favorite type of hit. But for whatever reason, it just didn't work for everyone. Or it just didn't get promoted correctly, or I don't even know, but it just didn't ever get the fan support that I think it deserves. Because the way this movie is shot and looks is just insane. I mean, just the setting of it, this spa and the way they shoot it, the different beautiful settings, and just the way it's all set up, because you could easily shoot this place and make it look ugly or make it look boring or whatever. But instead, the angles, the lighting, the different ways it's put together, it's just incredible to look at. But then of course, the cast in this is beautiful as well. You have Mia Goth and Jason Isaacs as well as others. I mean, just the movie itself is stunning to look at. But it also gets bizarre and gets very creepy, super uncomfortable, gross. I mean, makes your skin crawl. There are so many things in this movie that just make you feel so uncomfortable in your seat. And it also takes a lot of twists and turns. It's super mysterious and goes in a lot of directions and are honestly very surprising, especially where it ends up. It's not at all where I thought it was going. So I think this movie is just fantastic. And if you have yet to see it, do yourself a favor and make this the next thing that you watch.
The nightmare of childhood.
She's got him now, Aben. There's nothing I can do.
The Reflecting Skin is a 1990 British-Canadian drama horror movie. Written and directed by Philip Ridley, it stars Jeremy Cooper, Viggo Mortensen, and Lindsay Duncan. A young boy living in 1950s America fantasizes that a neighboring widow is actually a vampire and is responsible for a number of disappearances in the area.
Tell me, how old do you think I am?
50.
Oh, no, I'm older than that. I'm 200 years old.
I was so late to the party on this film. I hadn't heard of it or seen it until just a couple years ago, and it blew me away. Just the style of this, the way it's shot, everything about this has just such a unique feel to it. And it's not so much the story or the writing per se that makes it that way, it's the visuals. This movie is just visually amazing. Just how the saturation of the blacks is so black and moody. Everything about the way this is shot, as well as the wardrobe, the set design, the editing. I mean, it really has this bleak, uncomfortable, creepy, dark vibe. But it feels so sweeping and moving, and just the rhythm of it, the way everything is put together, there's almost a heartbeat to it that feels creepy. It's hard to even explain until you've seen this movie. But the cast is fantastic. It's just a really special movie that I think, as far as a vampire type of movie goes, it's really one of the best and absolutely one of the most slept on. I just think for any of you out there that have yet to see this gem, it's one you really need to see. Braid is a 2018 psychological horror movie. Written and directed by Mitzi Perroni. It stars Madeline Brewer, Imogen Waterhouse, and Sarah Hay. Two wanted women decide to steal from a wealthy and mentally unstable friend who lives in a fantasy world. But to do so, the fugitives must take part in a deadly and perverse game of make-believe.
Once we get into the house, whatever she asks you to do, you're gonna have to do it. No excuses. She says, we obey.
This is absolutely the definition of hidden gem. It's amazing and yet very much has been slept on. Like, nobody talks about this movie, and it really surprises me. And beyond that, I've talked about it a number of times and always get rave comments saying, man, Braid is incredible. I can't believe I never seen this, and all of that. And so it really surprises me that it still has not really grown any traction. But that's fine, because those in the know how much fun and how weird and twisted this movie is. But aesthetically, this movie is incredible. The way it's shot, the color palette, the different costume designs, as well as the set pieces, the weird and strange, alluring just choices in style, wardrobe. I mean, there is so many shots in this movie, even ones that just are briefly in it, that are just amazing to look at. But the visuals do such a good job of moving things along in such a way that the weird and uncomfortable dialogue and story that is driving it feels even more upsetting and confusing at times. Because this is a twisted one. This is absolutely a mindfuck. It toys with your thoughts, expectations. You think you know where it's going at times, and then it doubles back around and you're confused again. So it's fun in that way. But by the end, you do get a very clear picture of what the deal is in this movie. But at least in my case, it surprised the hell out of me. I did not see coming what ultimately this movie does. Also, for such a small cast, just a couple of women in this movie, they do an incredible job of just presenting the situation and constantly keeping you off kilter with the way they deliver their dialogue, the different emotions that they show and express. It's really a special little movie. But for those of you out there that enjoy psychological thriller horror movies, this is one that I highly recommend.
I am dangerous.
The Neon Demon is a 2016 psychological horror movie directed by Nicholas Winding Refn. It stars Elle Fanning, Jenna Malone, and Christina Hendricks. An aspiring model, Jessie is new to Los Angeles. However, her beauty and youth, which generate intense fascination and jealousy, may prove themselves sinister.
You walk into a room, it's like in the middle of winter. You're the sun.
Now, this is one that is talked about quite a bit more. There was a lot of buzz when this first came out, and still some, but it's definitely died down quite a bit. But this movie definitely deserves to be on this kind of list because it is just gorgeous. Not only are the cast, I mean, they're all models and they're just beautiful, especially Elle Fanning. She just looks incredible in this movie, but everything about it, the different way that it's shot, the different sets, because they're doing photography in these avant-garde, really abstract type of settings and situations. But each one of those are just brilliant set pieces in their own right. But then when this movie goes off the rails, I mean, it continues to just have the most bizarre and yet gorgeous sets and costume designs and just weird special effects and things that continue to make this movie gorgeous, but also absolutely brutal and uncomfortable. And when I say this movie goes off the rails, I mean, it gets really demented and deals with just about anything you can think of. But I'm a big fan of it, and I think it's absolutely a must-see. Titane is a 2021 French body horror movie, written and directed by Julia Ducournau. It stars Agathe Roussel, Garance Millier, and Vincent Linden. Following a series of unexplained crimes, a father is reunited with his son, who has been missing for 10 years. It really cracks me up having seen this movie multiple times, reading that synopsis, because there is so much more going on in what this movie's about. Even though on the surface, if you just look at it at a glance, sure, that's basically what this movie is about, kind of. But it's not. I mean, there is a lot of weirdness, strangeness, bizarre situations. I mean, a woman fucks a car in this movie, just to give you a small teaser example of where this movie goes. But it has style and beauty in the way that all of that unfolds. Even the body horror in this, it's so beautifully put together. The special effects feel real and yet absolutely bizarre and disturbing as much as you can really think of. But there's a slickness in the way this shot, and it's just so layered and gorgeous in everything that it does, will also be alarming and disturbing at the same time. Because don't get it twisted, this movie is absolutely a horror movie. It's just a very avant-garde, bizarre type of one. But it's also really mysterious and confusing and really goes in a lot of wild directions. So if you're not a fan of the avant-garde, the bizarre, the abstract type of thinking in movies, this may not be your cup of tea, because there is no clear answers on what this movie is or what everything is about or what it's trying to say, what its message is and true meaning, all of that. It's kind of up for your own interpretation to decide what you think you just watched. But if you're like me and you're just along for the ride and down to see whatever a weird movie can throw at you, then this is definitely going to be up your alley.
What world do you live in?
The Cell is a 2000 psychological sci-fi horror movie. Directed by Tarsem Singh, it stars Jennifer Lopez, Vince Vaughn, and Vincent D'Onofrio. An FBI agent persuades a social worker who is adept with a new experimental technology to enter the mind of a comatose serial killer in order to learn where he has hidden his latest kidnapped victim. So when I was putting this list together, this was the very first movie that came to mind, and which ultimately spawned the idea to make this video in general. Because I think it's such an interesting idea of a movie that is almost like a seductress, where it's gorgeous on the surface, it's beautiful, it feels like you want to look at it. But then it throws this crazy horror and all these twisted ideas and gore and you name it at you, and so you have this juxtaposition of these two elements that don't seem like they really should work together, but actually do and are absolutely amazing when they're done right. And this is one of those movies that is just stunning. The ideas, the imagination that's on display here, the costume designs, the different creations in general, the way they take this movie, because you're in this nightmare. And so really, the imagination, it's like the sky's the limit. Anything you can imagine can be created, but it's all being created by a serial killer. So it's just absolutely warped and messed up. But besides that, Vincent D'Onofrio is just brilliant in this movie. He really is what makes this movie worth seeing, beyond how amazing it looks. But it's also a really cool mystery and a crime thriller underneath all of that as well, which keeps your interest, keeps you along for the ride, trying to solve this along with the FBI. But besides all of that, I think this is one of those movies that any younger people out there, if you're fairly new to horror, or at the very least have mostly watched anything from like the last 10, 20 years, but have never seen this one, this is one that's got so much style. And I think if you're young, even though some elements of this are dated, there's so much creativity on display in this, it's definitely one you should check out.
It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Lost Highway is a 1997 neo-noir thriller, co-written and directed by David Lynch. It stars Bill Pullman, Patricia Arquette, and Balthazar Getty. Anonymous videotapes warn of a musician's murder conviction, and a gangster's girlfriend leads a mechanic astray.
Dream last night. It looked like you, but it wasn't.
So there was no doubt I had to put a David Lynch on this, because there's so many of his movies that really could easily be on this list. And but it was tough. I wanted to put multiple, but instead I just went with this one because I felt like it fits the most in this criteria. But I was really back and forth between this one and Mulholland Drive. So really, either one of those would be a recommendation from me if you haven't seen. But this movie is so bizarre, and I wanted to talk about it over Mulholland Drive. Not only do I think it fits this criteria a little bit more because it very much feels like a dream, but beyond that, it's also one that isn't talked about nearly enough. Because a lot of people, when they mention David Lynch, they talk about his series Twin Peaks, or they talk about Blue Velvet or Mulholland Drive, but rarely do they talk about this one, and I think this is just as good as anything else he ever did. But it's also one of the most confusing and hard to follow and hard to really put into words exactly what is going on here and what this movie is trying to say. But that's the case with Lynch's style of filmmaking and art in general that I find so compelling. But this movie, man, it is incredible to look at. The different colors, the way they're used, how different wardrobe is used to really leap off the screen. And there's so many different things that David Lynch will use as that focal point, that one thing that just makes everything just disappear behind it and make you gravitate towards that one scene or that one moment or that one object. And it's really amazing about his filmmaking and the way he shoots them. But it's also beautiful in the way that it flows, the way the story is presented, the different weird time jumps, and the way it keeps you off kilter. Just in general, it is such a gorgeous piece of filmmaking. And as you can tell, I am still mourning the loss of David Lynch. He's one of the few celebrities, the few artists out there who I truly aspired to be like, who I truly thought was more than just a regular man. Like, the guy, what he made was so imaginative, so one of a kind. It's truly a devastating loss. But the beautiful thing about art is that we can still enjoy it, and that generations to come will still enjoy it along with us. But like I said, there was no way in hell I was gonna put a list like this together without talking about a David Lynch. But that's my list, but I would love to hear from you guys down in the comments. Let me know, what are the movies that jump to your mind, the movies that I missed or maybe I've never even seen. Either way, I would love to hear your interpretation of that idea down in the comments. But like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button, and remember guys, horror can be fun, and I'll see you guys next time.